Today I want to talk about one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies, one that somehow manages to put me in the holiday spirit even though it opens on an aggressively cynical note. I'm talking about Scrooged, the 1988 comedy classic starring Bill Murray. If you're anything like me, you've got a soft spot for modern retellings of old stories, and this one is an absolute treasure. It's a hilarious, sharp, and surprisingly heartfelt spin on Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, reimagined for the late 1980s, and honestly, it holds up remarkably well today. Scrooged hit theaters in 1988, directed by Richard Donner. Yes, the same Richard Donner that brought us Superman, The Goonies, and Lethal Weapon. The film's very DNA is soaked with that unmistakable 1980s aesthetic. Big hair, big sets, big satire. This film just strikes me the right way every single time. It's one of those films that I never get sick of watching. Stick around as I explain why Scrooged is an absolute favorite and a treasure of a film. The movie's protagonist is Frank Cross, played by the one and only Bill Murray. He is a ruthless and deeply self-absorbed television executive at the fictional IBC network. He's climbed the corporate ladder by stepping on pretty much every person he's ever met on his way up. He's cold, he's driven, he's about as festive as a tax audit. His latest grand idea is to have a massive, overproduced, live Christmas Eve production of A Christmas Carol. He calls it Scrooge. The irony is practically the point. He's producing a show about redemption while embodying the worst traits of Ebenezer Scrooge himself. The movie knows exactly what it's doing, parodying the TV sensationalism of the era with ridiculous promos full of explosions, acid rain, and whatever it takes to make people too afraid to miss the event. Bill Murray is the perfect man for the role. He brings his signature mix of razor-sharp sarcasm, world-weary charm, and pure, unapologetic meanness. Frank is so thoroughly awful that in the beginning he fires a man on Christmas Eve, hands out cheap towels as employee bonuses, and seems to actively be allergic to anything remotely related to kindness. But Murray keeps him watchable. He's weirdly magnetic. You hate the guy, but you root for him anyway. You're rooting for some glimmer of humanity to surface, and because his lines are so quotable, you can forgive a lot of his awfulness. In fact, him being awful is kind of fun to watch. The comedy throughout the film is genuinely solid. It's not forced, it's not canned stuff you can sometimes get with holiday movies. It's quick, it's dark, it's wonderfully absurd, echoed by a cast that leans into the satire without losing heart. Bobcat Goldthwait's performance is absolutely fantastic. He's the poor guy that Frank fires in the opening act, and he is pure chaotic gold. His frantic energy and unhinged delivery make him an unforgettable character. Watching his character spiral into a drunken, shotgun-wielding madman is absolutely fun. And then there are the ghosts. The ghosts steal the show, each one adding flavor to the story. The first one is Frank's old dead mentor appearing as a corpse covered in dust, cobwebs, and golf balls. It's equal parts grotesque and hilarious, setting the tone for the supernatural visits to come. The ghost of Christmas Past is a cab driver with an attitude, a cigar-smoking, wisecracking guide who whisks Frank back to his childhood and early career. Through him, we see the origins of Frank's coldness. The harsh father, who is also hilariously awful, when he gives his son meat instead of a train set, and that yells at the kid to get a job, it cracks me up every single time. When the kid says that he's only 4, the dad complains, "Every day I have to hear about people giving excuses why they can't work. My back hurts, my leg hurts, I'm only 4. I have to admit, I actually said that to my son when he was 4, and I thought it was funny. My wife didn't. We all see the ways Frank broke his own heart long before anyone else had a chance to. Then comes Carol Kane as the ghost of Christmas Present, and she is truly something special in this movie. When I think of Carol Kane, Scrooged is the first movie that pops into my head. She looks like a sparkly sugar plum fairy. She has a high-pitched voice. She sounds cheerful, but she's mean and hilariously so. She hits Frank with a toaster, she yanks his lip, and she slaps him whenever she feels he needs a wake-up call, which is pretty often. Her scenes with Grace's family, especially Grace's son Calvin, who has gone mute after the death of his father, provide some of the movie's most emotional moments. Carol Kane's chaotic sweetness masks a sharp sense of compassion that forces Frank to confront what he doesn't want to confront, his own selfishness. Then we get to the Ghost of Christmas Future. By contrast, this is straight up nightmare stuff. A towering, grim reaper type figure with skeletal hands and eerie faces of suffering souls inside of his cloak. The haunting cremation coffin sequence is actually pretty terrifying, where Frank finds himself trapped inside of a coffin as the flames arise. The horror elements, though, never overshadow the comedy, but they give the story real emotional weight. What makes the movie endure for me is the character arc. Frank may start off as a caricature of corporate greed, but the more we learn about him, the more human he becomes. His relationship with Claire, played with warmth and sincerity, is key to all that. She represents the road not taken for Frank, and the life he could have lived if he hadn't traded everything for his own ambitions. Their flashback scenes are some of the most touching parts of the movie, showing how love slipped through his fingers one bad decision at a time. By the time the final act rolls around, Frank's transformation feels earned. His spontaneous hijacking of the live broadcast, where he launches into that now famous monologue about kindness, generosity, and believing in the Christmas spirit, is both over the top and genuinely moving. You've heard the speech, it borders on sentimental excess, but Bill Murray plays it straight and genuine. It's not a prepared speech, he's speaking off the cuff, and it looks like he's speaking off the cuff, and it comes off real. And then they start singing Put a Little Love in Your Heart, and it feels good. It's fun to watch. It's a great conclusion to the movie. It's a great conclusion to his story arc. One thing I've always admired about Scrooged is how it blends genres. It's funny, romantic, deeply sad at times, and sometimes a bit frightening. It has something sincere to say about empathy and second chances. It's a difficult balance, and the film pulls it off with the help of a stellar supporting cast. In a landscape overflowing with sentimental Christmas movies and Hallmark movies, Scrooged stands out because it has edge, it has attitude, and beneath its cynicism is a beating heart. That's why it remains one of my holiday staples today. If you haven't revisited this movie in a while, I really recommend that you do. Cue it up this holiday season. Grab some eggnog and settle in with your family. Maybe not the real little ones, some of the scenes might be too scary or too crude for the real young kids, but the movie will make you laugh, it'll make you cry, maybe, and hopefully you'll walk away from the movie feeling a little bit more generous towards the people around you. That's my take on Scrooged. What's yours? Feel free to drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are some of your favorite Christmas movies? And please like and subscribe. That helps a young growing channel like mine. And Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. And as Frank would say, put a little love in your heart. Now time for the shameless plug. You can find my novels at Amazon.com, and you can read a free sample at EricWilfredWatson.com. Links in the description below.